This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you have on tap for us today?
Well, tonight is something that I've been waiting to do for a good long while because, first it was Blade of the Immortal, then it was The Walking Dead, and now it's the series. So when I talk about those titles, I'm talking the best comic I've been reading right now. And, after The Walking Dead ended, well, there's only one series to take its place, and that is Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui. And yeah, we'll talk about some of its flaws and all, because no series is perfect. But this series is really goddamn fantastic, and if you're not reading it, then yeah, you're doing yourself a great disservice. And because it's just like a thoroughly entertaining series, one that's relentlessly creative and inventive, and just does a great job with its world building, its characterization, like everything about it is great. And I gotta thank one guy for bringing this to my attention. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hi, it's me.
Yeah. So thanks again, man, for bringing this to my attention. Because I mean, maybe I would have found out about it eventually, but I mean, thanks to you, it's like not only did I start reading the scanlations, but also started reading the reading it properly as well. You know, buying the volumes as I should, and buying volumes for you at Christmas and your birthday to save your soul as well.
I appreciate the salvation of my eternal soul.
You're welcome, sir. It's and I guess it's well, I imagine there's some people who are just familiar with this series, from me writing about it on a regular basis on the blog. Well, if you're wondering what is this series about, well, it's a fantasy dungeon crawling series that starts off with this one party that's got your average your characters. There's Laios, he's the fighter. There's Marcille, she's the mage. There's Falin, she is Laios' sister, and she's the cleric. There's Chilchuk, the it's the rogue. There's Namarti, the dwarven face smasher, I guess. And then there's Shuro, who is the samurai type character, because you can't, as much as the series is a classic Dungeons & Dragons style fantasy series, you gotta have your Japanese style characters in here as well. And we're introduced to them as they're fighting against this red dragon on the at a lower depths of this dungeon, because this dungeon is famous because once it was uncovered, this living corpse just came and said if you try to defeat the lunatic magician, it's there will the entire the entire dungeon and the people beneath it will be yours. So that basically got a lot of people invested in in exploring this place. And the people we encountered just now, well, they were invested in it as well, except there's one problem. They were just not fed well enough. It's they lost, they had problems getting their gear together. It's and losing rations to traps. So they were just a they were just we're not at their best level when fighting against the red dragon. And as they're fighting against it and losing, well, Laios' sister Falin saves him by pushing him out of the way and winding up in the dragon's mouth. But then she magics them all out of the dungeon. So Laios is all about just we've got to go and get back and save her. Well, two of them, Shuro and Namarti, are just saying, no, we've had enough of this. We're gonna do something else now. But Marcille and Chilchuk, they're willing to try and save Fallen, because because she's their friend, but they're gonna figure out how do we get enough supplies in order to get back down there. Are they just gonna sell their stuff and just equip Laios with enough stuff to just go down there and solo the dungeon? Or it's are they just gonna take the hit and just go down there woefully unsupplied? Or, as Laios suggests, what if we eat the monsters along the way? Because why can't we? It's they're just like regular creatures. We can just go ahead and just eat them as we would any other any other above ground monster, and just go ahead and do that. So his first thing instinct is just slay one of the random walking mushrooms and one of the scorpions as well. And as he's about to try and cook them, he's stopped by a random dwarf by the name of Senshi, someone who's been living in the dungeons for a good long while now, and someone who's also has his own plans in terms of just what constitutes proper dungeon cuisine. And so thanks to his know-how, he basically instructs them on how the proper way to cook these monsters, and gives them their first dungeon meal, scorpion hot pot. It's great, it's delicious. And even though Laos, who's all about just hey, what do these monsters taste like? I want to know. Chilchuk, who's just kind of I guess I'll go ahead and do this. And Marcel, who's just no. It's well, she realizes that this is also kind of delicious as well. And so begins the story of these characters as they go down, explore the dungeon, eating monsters along the way. It's and hopefully get to Fallen before she's digested, and they have to resurrect her from being poop. So that's a series. That's a series in a nutshell. How it starts, and things just get better from there. Right, Steve?
Yeah, it has somewhat humble beginnings, but I think it lays down, a good foundation early of a rich ecology in the dungeon. It's not just it is filled with tropes, but the tropes are all subverted in fun little ways, living armor. The living armors that you might think of when you think of dungeon enemies. Well, they're just, if I remember correctly, they're crustaceans or some sort that inhabit the armor. Mollusks. They're just living their best lives, and they just happen to be inhabiting this armor to defend themselves and munch some adventures along the way.
Yeah, it's and that's then she talks about one of the best early stories that happens at the end of the first volume, because it's you think about living armor, and it's okay, well, it's just magic controlled armor, but Kui finds a great way to subvert your expectations there. And and that kind of cleverness and world building just continues throughout the course of the series. I mean, it's we get later stories such as the dungeon frogs. It's who who where the characters kill them and skin them in order to use their hides in order to advance further down in the dungeon, and that comes back to play later on. It's and also exploring the the dungeon living paintings, such as hey, what happens when you see paintings that are watching you, or that are magical in nature? Then if you can just try and dive into them in order to explore their what's in them, or can you eat the the food that's inside them, as Laos tries to find out at one point. And that's also a good example of how the series uses this, because initially the series, this kind of seems like a gimmick, hey, what's the the monster we're going to be eating for this chapter or these chapters. But it also reveals itself to be a vector for world building. It's and characterization as well, such as when we get to know more about Chilchuk, as he has to fend for himself against against this series in version of a mimic, or when Laios goes into the living paintings and gets to know the lunatic magician that is the king of the sorry, not the king, the ruler of the dungeons, and how he learns about just what's going on with him there. It's clever, it's fun, and also these these storytelling directions also converge in volume 4, when we get the story of them fighting the dragon that ate Fallen, and how they have to deal against that, because that's like easily one of the high points of the series, because it's a volume length story that basically like basically has the characters like trying to like find a way using their limited skill set in order to like defeat this legendary monster, and also the like all the craziness that happens like after they do that. Like I mean like this is something that I think that you probably thought was like really like a high point for the series as well. Just for them fighting against the dragon.
Oh yes, it sounds like a natural like endpoint for the story. They've come to do what they meant to do, and they do it. But then things happen, and it keeps getting more interesting from there. It's you'd think it's I mean, there is a bit of like falling action after the resolution of the dragon fight, but then the stakes amp up again somehow, even more. It's really great.
Yeah, because they also like cross paths with other it's like with other characters who are going through the dungeon as well, because Shuro, he's got his own reasons for coming back into the dungeon, and he brings his own Japanese styled cast into here as well, which is great. And also Namari also crosses paths with the characters again as they face off against a nasty Undyne. And then there's Kabru, who is someone who has experienced what happens when a dungeon gets out of control. Because it turns out that hey, like dungeons aren't just like like places like underground where like there's like treasure and traps to be had. Turns out that there's actual like an intelligence behind them, so that's been guiding them and their it's like and guiding their development over the course of course of history as well. And and as the series goes on, we learn more about just what's what's how the dungeons like evolve, and like what's the nature of their control, and what happens when someone becomes the ruler of the dungeon. Because well, we learn about the person who's ruling this dungeon, elf by the name of Sissel. It's like he's referred to as the lunatic magician, but well, it's like we learn that he's had his reasons for doing this, and it turns out that the characters like they've got the elders have their reasons for trying to defeat him, specifically when they're invited to the it's like the homeland of the people who are like living in the dungeon peacefully, like the hands of the Golden Land, and how they tell them that okay, you need to like Sissel is basically made us immortal for reasons that we had no control over, but like you need to like find the winged lion in order to like to save us. And it sounds like a pretty straightforward thing, because hey, find the winged lion, defeat the lunatic magician. That's all pretty straightforward, right, Steve?
I mean, it sounds that way, but in a good story like this one, it's there's some wrinkles along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when we hear this described and like hearing Courtney talk about this and us just laughing at him while we're watching the anime. That was great. Oh, he doesn't know. He has no idea what to expect when season 2 comes out. Because just to interject real quick, there has been a like anime adaptation for Delicious in Dungeon that basically adapts like first 7 volumes and change and a little bit of change, and it's really great. It just does a really good job of adapting the what's being done, what was done. I mean, it doesn't make any serious changes, but it executes on what was done in those volumes really well. At least that's what I think. So
Yeah, well, I agree. They just did. I just think they did a really great job with it. Um, I wish I had more to say about it, but that just sounds like weird gushing. So look, it's just really good. All right.
yeah, I mean, it's not like Trigger just like going full tilt like they did with Edge Runners, but it's just like I said, they just like show they can do just like regular stuff really well, like, and just make it memorable, like, too. And also just like and also just the I guess with also like getting back to like the series itself, it's like it's also a testament to like Kui's sensibilities that she's able to like make the addition of a character into the main cast after a certain point that you would think like okay, we've got our main our core group of like Elios, Senshi, Marcial, and Chilchuk, but then okay, yeah, adding someone else like when they've been together like for such a long time, adding someone else into that would be kind of like difficult, but she pulls it off with the cat girl ninja Izutsumi, who was originally introduced as a mysterious part of Shiro's group, but then someone who escapes and like demands that okay, like you guys are going down to like fight the it's like lunatic magician, so maybe this person can like undo the curse that was put upon me, because yeah, she is a beast person, someone who is like basically equal parts cat and equal parts human, like, and but also like it's cool because like yeah, she's a cat girl, but she's also someone who's like equal parts cat and equal parts girl at the same time. So it's like Kui finds a lot of fun ways to just like endorse that, such as when like when they go to the Golden Land, that the people from the like for the continent that were that were made immortal there, like she's just her like there's a calming spell placed on all the monsters there, and so like because she's like part beast, she feels that as well, but I mean she just like acts more cat like and all, and also just like when she gets back to like the regular plate like place there in the like in the dungeons, like she just remembers like, oh my god, I was just acting as a cat. It's like it's awful, I'm embarrassed. But it's like she also just but Kui does a good job of like slowly integrating her into the cast, like even after a point when you think that hey, like any point after that, you think she'd be the Poochie like of this series, but no, she actually has like like a good backstory, solid and solid motivations like as well. It's like she winds up being a really like um like well done member of of the cast, and I like the and even though like it feels like like Kui's having to work overtime in order to like integrate her into this into the cast, it's like I think it works, and like she's a lot of fun to see like like work along the cast as well, especially when like it's just her like being in the background and just just like emoting as a as a cat would, such as when like I remember when like they are like talking about like the values of like nutrition like at the like in it's like in volume 12. It's like, or when Izutsume I cast like is left to fend for herself against the dungeon rabbits, which it's like all the stuff. One thing I'd like to say about the series is that I guess I could say the first half, which is like all the anime centric stuff, does a good job of like like having this like formula where you've got like the characters doing like the dungeon like the dungeon like meal the week and all. It's not that, but like there's like a lot of like regular stuff. Finding like eating monsters and then making making meals at it, and it's really fun. But then as the series goes into its back half, well, like you get the feeling that it's more we're now more focused on like the story and like the world that we've built up, and now we're gonna be like playing off that like, as things go on. So it becomes less about the monsters and more about just what's been set up, such as the canaries, the elven dungeon dungeon inspectors, like who are just like tasked with like making sure like everything's going right in the dungeons. It's like and all, and how they become like a like it's like a really authoritative presence, in the like in the back half of the series, particularly with a Mithrin who's got a really cool version of like of like teleportation magic, in the sense that he will not just like teleport you through space, he will teleport you through stuff as well. It's like when
He
he just like
he
go on.
swaps places with things, to be more precise.
Yeah, it's like if he wants to put you into a dungeon wall, like next thing you will see, it's like it'll be like the dungeon, part of the dungeon he swapped you out with. Yeah, and it's great because like he also just like finds ways to just slice characters through that as well. Just like it's like using his cloak and also like it's not done in the in the series itself, but also I remember that cover where he's using like carving boards and like just teleporting people through, using those as like teleportation things, just swapping those out with like flesh of like the monster that he's fighting.
Yeah, it's the cover art for the volumes is really nice. It features all the characters doing things that are in character, but out of not part of the normal story. Just but it's really well done. It's just another touch of quality with this series.
Yeah, and so I guess before we start getting into like the end game stuff, I mean, like, are there any like like particular like story bits like that you want to talk about, like stuff that stuck out, either from the first half, which is the anime stuff, or the back half as well, that you think like was really clever in terms of like what was done in terms of like just like eating monsters and all, or just storytelling bits, Steve.
Well, So Izutsumi arrives and is sort of like it's, she's an irascible cat,
Yes.
uh, and much like cats do, she kind of just ends up adopting the group. If you wanna interpret it that way. And it's important to note that this is not a this is not an anime cat girl where there's just some cute bits bolted onto a regular girl.
Or it's
This
like
is
it's not neko neko nya.
Yeah, it's a cat. It's a humanoid cat mostly. It's not the tropey, cutesy cat girl thing that you may be thinking of. So, um, I appreciate that. I appreciate that the author did not fall back on tropes and decide to keep this sort of the art focus on this sort of something hewing closer to a Dungeons and Dragons style like representation, um, rather than an anime representation, if you know what I mean. Um, there's that. I like that the frog suit that was briefly mentioned. The frog suit is the frog suit's used to get through a thing that the party runs into, but the frog suit keeps coming back in little gags throughout the series because it's funny, and Marcille still doesn't like it, but she still finds herself jumping into this funny looking frog suit that looks kind of more like looks like a giant animal onesie.
Yeah.
So I that is surely part of its appeal there. Um, and I like Senshi. I really like Senshi. He's a weird dwarf. And at the start, you that's mainly how he's played. He's a weird dwarf who is in tune with himself and the dungeon and living in it. He's ecologically sound. He believes in uh, living within the life cycle of the dungeon, and using the things and consuming everything. One of those people who believes in not wasting like resources. But besides that, uh, he's also got a fun backstory that is explored a bit later. And yeah, I think he's just he's a cool character who doesn't emote a lot, but I think that's just part of his charm. You just mainly see him. If he has to express himself, it will be through his eyes, because that's mostly what you see of him, and that's what changes. His eyes and maybe his beard. Um,
And also
and
apparently he gets like the most pantsuit shots like of the
oh
entire
yes,
series.
oh yes, he is subject to the most panty shots, but that's okay because he's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and also it's like I mean, like, I also the in terms of like like series, probably stories that like give us like insight into characters. I also want to talk about like Izutsumi's like against the succubi, which that was really clever in terms of like hey as they're revealed to be like like mosquito type creatures who who actually like the life essence out of it's like the life milk out of creatures, but it doesn't work on Izutsumi because, well, she's kind of mixed up because she's got like a human side, but she's also got a cat side to her as well, and so it confuses the it's like the monster, like the succubi, in terms of how do we get this, and that allows her to like save the day as well. It's like that was a really fun like instance, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that's handled in the anime. Also with the Dullahan, because you got like the headless horse rider getting with a headless horse as well. And I, as a avowed Monty Python fan, I can't not talk about the dungeon rabbits, because it's like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's like you think that, okay, yeah, like, well, we've got, like, we in America, we've got our own, like, touchstones about these kinds of things, but we wouldn't think that okay, well, wait, Japan likes Monty Python as well, because I can't not look at the Dungeon Rabbits bit and go like, okay, she has to have been familiar with seeing a Monty Python the Holy Grail in order to understand just like how dangerous rabbits can be. But also it's a credit to her that she not only finds her like a clever way to make this bit her own, but also tie it into the classic Thriller video as well.
Yeah, it's that bit with the dungeon rabbits it's pretty clever. There's just so many cultural touchstones, rolled into there. It's good. It's just really good.
Yeah, and also it's like in terms of like characterizations. Like I rereading this ahead of the podcast. I think that Kui really did a good job of like outlining just why Marcio broke bad, or I don't know. I'm not even sure like you call it that, but just the fact that she aligned with like the Winged Lion, like in terms of like becoming the dungeon master. But because like you understand like what, it's not that she was like one making villainous turns. Like she had reasons for doing what she did, and I think those were like were pretty well explained. It's like, especially understanding like she wants to make like all lifespans equal, but that's because like she, like hers is going to be much longer than everyone else. So it's like she wants to like make everyone like like live the same lifespan, and that's like especially hammered home when everyone dies during the Dungeon Rabbit arc. So
Yeah, it's her desire provide um to provide cause force equality in the differing lifespans between the varying races of the world is a motivating factor for a lot of what she does, both before and during the events of the story.
yeah, it's like, and that's just like a lot of the good characterization that like that Kui does, especially all the bits when Kabru thinks about can I give Laios the benefit of the doubt in terms of just like not wanting to be like be the dungeon master because of his dungeon love of monsters, and it's like, no, I can't. I've got to like go and talk to him and try to make him see reason, because that's fun as well. It's like, because Kabrun is kind of like the straight man, for a lot of the storytelling here. I mean, he wants to do like the right thing, but like but like a lot of his like reasoning is just kind of like founded on like proper logic, but he's got to like you know like adjust for like like the person that he's dealing with as well. So like that was interesting. It's like, and like, and overall it's like, I mean, like everything up to the like, the I don't know, it's like, I guess like Steve, I mean, are there any like like real issues like you've got with the series? It's like stuff that you think that maybe could have been done better, or
If I were a more critical person, I might have something like that, but I really don't have a lot of the usual criticisms I might have of a manga series. The world building is rich. That you can tell that this feels like a world that was lived in. Um, let's take. I know this is kind of outside what we're talking about here, but take the world of Disco Elysium, right? The setting for that was allegedly drawn from the some of the developers D&D like setting. So there's a lot of texture already to the world. So and I feel like that while the author didn't have that going into this, um, you can tell that she put a lot of work into making the world feel like fleshed out, and it's not just the dungeon isn't just some place that exists. It exists in an ecology of the world, and it exists in a political sphere because it's a place that many different factions are trying to control. Um,
Yeah, like
it's
the
got
orcs. I mean, like the orcs, like traditionally, like bad, like the villains and all. But the orcs here, like feel like they've got reasons for like why they do the things they do. And when like they stand up in opposition to the elves, like as things that start getting crazy in the dungeon. I mean, you're not inclined to just like say like, oh, like let's take them out. Like no, they've like you think like, hey, they've got a point, you know.
yeah, it's nuanced. I like that. So world building's good. The ecology of the dungeon itself is good. The the way that all the creatures are, part of they're part of a food chain. Um, they're all part of this they're all part of this system, and it works really well. I like the way that's explained and shown through the various monsters and creatures that they encounter. Um, the there's no pandering to fan service for a story like this. I look,
Except for
it's
Sensei's
okay,
pantsuit.
except for Senchi's pantsies. Yes, um, I think that's really good. Um, I'm not some Puritan prude here. It's just I think stuff like that kind of gets in the way of good storytelling sometimes. And here, the focus is on an interesting world, interesting characters, their story, and all that. So, like, I appreciate that. There's no pandering here to try to make sales. It's this is the world that she wanted to present, and she stuck with it, and I really like that. Um, you've got you've got characters. They feel relatable. There's no there's no paragons of humanity, or well, they're not all humans. A lot of them aren't humans really. There's no paragons of like existence. Let's just go with that.
Paragons
uh
of virtue, I guess,
sh-
because like
yeah,
even
that's a
even
better word.
Laios, even like he's like the sensible. If anyone's gonna be called like a protagonist here, it's like it's gonna be Laios. But even then, like he's got his love of monsters that drive him more than anything else, and that also kind of cause him to be just oh god, it's like like because like it cast as a villain, even like Kabrun's eye, because like you think like okay, I've got to find a way to like convince us, try to like get this guy to like see us as as normal people and all.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
our ostensible protagonist is main protagonist. There are many. It's an ensemble cast, but our
Yeah.
ostensible protagonist he's deeply flawed. He's got he's got some deep skills, uh, but he's also terribly flawed.
Oh,
And
actually, can I interrupt you for 1 second to talk about Laios, because um some of the fandom has basically interpreted Laios to be um it's like neurodivergent, basically like autistic, in the sense that he's hyper focused on monsters, and they're saying that like like he's a good reference of like of that kind of thing. And I look at this and think that, oh my god, it's like on one hand, like okay, I get what you're saying, but like this is not a character who was like designed to say that. He's just someone who is just like like really really like a fan of monsters, rather than someone who's like actually neurodivergent. It's like that's kind of what some of the fandom says. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
no, I
Or
hadn't really thought about that. Like if people want to interpret him as such, that's totally fine. Like it doesn't really hurt me. Um, to me, Like, why he really likes monsters? That's, sure, that's open to debate, but I'm not here to discuss that.
Okay. Yeah, because I just get the feeling that like fandom is just going to be like really angry when they realize that, oh my god, it's like he's not like this thing we imagined and all. So I think that just that's that. I guess that's my issue with how that interpretation goes. Like they shouldn't be looking for things that aren't explicitly there. Much in the way that fandom likes to ship Fallen and Marcial, because they really like that too, because apparently that bathing scene they had in the anime like set people off.
Well, down bad people going to be down bad, so whatever.
Okay, yeah, but I guess it's like, so I think it's safe to say that we thoroughly love this series. Before we get to start talking about like how it all wraps up.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, because it kind of comes, because I think that like this is a series that like could have like really flubbed its finale, in the sense that like when you find out that well, like I guess like spoiler warning and all, it's like the winged lion was evil, like the dungeon power was evil.
No.
Yes, that's how it is, man. And it comes down to Laios like realizing this and having to like motivate everyone in order to save Marcial, like from being the like leader of the dungeon, and also actually like from the influence of the like of the winged lion. But also like the winged lion like also just manipulating Laios into like like, hey, like you don't really want to like be human, you want to be a monster. And like and like the climactic arc basically comes down to like the winged lion swapping bodies with Laios, and a great bit where Hizutsumi realizes this and then like slices Laios's head off before the winged lion like grabs it and puts it back on. So basically, like,
Womp womp.
yeah. So basically, like the final, like the next penultimate volume is all about like the winged lion trying to get out of the dungeon, and like basically, it's like realizing his desires, like, hey, like I can finally be the person to like make my own desires come true after all this time, and there's not a thing you can do about it. But hey, it's like Senshi, Marcial, and Chilchuk, and to Izumi, I'll leave you guys alive because that's what Laios wanted. Everyone else, well, I'm just going to like eat you forever because that's what I wanted. Just make everyone's like desires last forever, and so I can eat them. And wait, what? It's like, what? Where is my desire going? It's like, Laios, what have you done? It's like the bit where he realizes that Laios has like outsmarted him is great, because speaking for me at least, I live for the bits, like I mean superhero comics has basically taught me that hey, in the end, like all like the hero is going to be more clever, not more powerful than the villain, but more clever than the villain. It's not going to come down to like how hard like Captain America or the Hulk or Wolverine punches someone. It's going to come down to like how do they outsmart them, in terms of like realizing that the villain can't you do the like obtain their goal, because this is what the good guys have done, like in order to prevent that. That's what I love about like the finale for the penultimate volume in this series, because you get to find out just how Laios outsmarted a demon, outsmarted a creature from the realm of infinity, and he did this all by writing in the margins. Because it's like even if he's given like the chance to become his ultimate monster, well, it turns out that the winged lion didn't actually read the fine print as closely as he should have, and well, I can speak for me, but I think that is fantastic. So
Now, do you so the characters even comment on this, but regarding regarding Laios writing in his notes about precisely what he needed to defeat the winged lion. Do you think he did it on purpose? Do you think it was intentional, or do you think it was just something he thought would be cool? I think it was intentional, but you know, jury can be out on that.
I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the kind
Oh
of
no,
person who thought.
when you say that, it's one of the it's either one or the other. I think the answer to one or the other is yes.
Hmm, huh. Okay, thanks. All right, well then we'll just leave it at that then.
Yeah, but it's worth noting that if you look closely, you can see the bit about eating desires is in the bit where where they look at all the abilities that the monster has before the big reveal. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Which means the author was really setting this up for a while.
yeah, it's like, I mean, that's like I said, she was great at world building. She was great in terms of just like thinking about like how everything was going to be set up in terms of the characterization. So it makes sense that she would have this setup as well, and that is beautiful. And also the bit where when the winged lion says, "Laios Todin, I curse you. Your greatest desire will never come to be." And, and that leads us into the final volume, which is all falling action as well. Like basically, everyone everyone winds up getting what they deserve, and also like everyone on the island has to is invited to a it's like a feast where they have to eat all the irrelevant parts of Fallen before she can be resurrected, because she's been turned into like the dragon avatar of Sissel. So before she can be resurrected, they need to eat all the dragon parts of her. So that's basically what the final volume is centered around, but it also gives us the final destinations for all the characters. We see what's that's Chochuk gonna do? What's gonna happen to Marcille after she's like engaged in all this ancient research into ancient magic? What's Senshi gonna do now that there's no more dungeon? What's Laios gonna do now that he's King Laios, devourer of all things bizarre? It's like that was great. And also what about the people of the Golden Land and Sissel, who's had all of his desires eaten by the winged lion? What's gonna happen to all these people? And the all of these answers are addressed, and I think all the crucial stuff is addressed here. I guess the only real question I have is, Steve, when Marcille, sorry, when Fallen is being resurrected, and she sees the winged lion, he says and she, and he says there's one way you can be you can be brought back. That was harder and more difficult than others, but no, it's you can go this way as well. What do you think he meant by that?
When is this?
This is in the final the very final chapter. He's basically, like I said, Marcille is Fallen is being resurrected, and he asks, and she's eating the last bit of dragon, and he appears to her and he says is it good? And she says, yes, very. And he says, would you like more? And she's like, yes. And he's like, that path is obviously harder and crueler, but well, I suppose it's nothing to do with me. Go. What do you think that other path was, I guess?
Uh, Shit, I don't know, man. Um, Damn, dropping a pop quiz on me like this?
Okay, so I guess it's the one like question, like I don't think like the series like left a lot of like stuff up to the imagination in terms of like like crucial stuff. But I guess when he's like saying that, I kind of think that he was saying do you want to become a demon like me? It's like, do you want to like in like like enjoy this like desire for something to eat? And in the end, like when she's, even though she says yes, like he acknowledges like, yeah, I could make you into a demon like me just to fuck with Laios after what he did to me. But I respect Laios for his game and how he got me. So go ahead and be a human again.
I think in this case, this is just an interpretation. I think in this case, maybe the winged lion is saying, do you want to eat more? And that's implying, well, you have to live, right? You have to live to eat more, right? And
Sure.
the winged lion might be interpreting the will to live as the crueler path, because to live is to be ruled by this desire, to this need to consume, right?
Yeah.
And maybe in the winged lion's perspective, it's less cruel to fade away and not have to worry about being ruled by a desire and the need to consume. So maybe that's one interpretation of it. I don't know.
You make a good point right there, because in the end, like the series like makes the point of like eating is the privilege of people who are living and being alive, and that's what
But it's
King
also
Laios.
their curse.
Yeah, it's like I mean, like he's like Laios is cursed, but like not for the reason that he initially thinks he is. And I like the fact that like everyone else realizes this before he does. So it's so like it's like the series does make a good point about just like what it means to like to eat and be eaten, and also just like bring its character arcs like to its end on that part. And also I like the fact that the final volume also includes like a final like epilogue story about Kensuke, the living the monster living in Laios's sword, and what happens to him at the end as well. Because like I could have just gone on for like more stories about everyone from Shuro to Tade the ogre who works under him, to like Kabrun, and like and even Mithrin, even Mithrin like gets like a reason to live epilogue in the final volume. Like there's like enough stuff here that we could have gotten like like more like after this. But I guess like in the end it's what we get here is filling filling to the point. Yeah, it's like where it's like I'm satisfied with what we got, even though it's like there could have easily been more after that. And in fact, I think there are some additional stories here that that have been posted to Reddit and been removed as well, because apparently they're exclusive to the DVD sets that are being sold in Japan. So, but overall, it's like the series really wrapped up well. And in case anyone was like worried that I was implying that things wouldn't wrap up well, with my thoughts on Volume 13, you were wrong. The series is fucking great. Like it is absolutely fantastic. And if you like not just if you like manga, if you like good comics in general, you got to read this. It is thoroughly like imaginative, creative, and just a joy to read, like from beginning to end. I mean, yeah, it's like I felt like maybe rereading some stuff was like gonna be a chore, but no, not this series. It's like just like giving me an excuse to reread it. That was all I needed. It was great. I like Steve. Like, you got any final thoughts on this, or?
Besides, if you haven't read this thing, read it. That's it. Read it. It's that good.
Yeah, it's like, and I guess we want to like wrap this up by saying like Yoko Kui, like, she is basically said she's taking a very well-deserved break after completing this, which, it's like she absolutely deserves that. But I really don't hope she stops creating. Like, apparently I think she's doing like some one shot for the magazine that Dungeon was published in, like Harta. But I really hope that like after this is done, after she's had like a meaningful break, that she'll do something. Like, okay, I mean, yeah, she can just call it quits after living this all time great. But it's like this shows that she's just like a really like inventive creator that I want to see more from. Like, and I just hope that like this isn't the very last we hear from her. If it is,
Agreed.
yeah, it's like if it is, then okay, I'll understand. But if not, but yeah, I really want to see what she does next, because Ryoko, you're fantastic, and we want to see more from you. There you go. That's how we're gonna end this. Like, Ryoko, we hope you come back sooner rather than later.
Yes. Total agreement.
So, Jason, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, it's like probably not something that is like as impactful as this, but if my comics arrive in time, then maybe I'll be talking about the end to Ed Brubaker's like Encyclopedia Brown, Nancy Drew Dark Arm homage Friday, because that's apparently wrapping up with its third volume, and that's in the mail right now. I'm assuming that everything has come into stock at cheapgraphicnovels.com. So there you go. But that's it. And so, Steve, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
Yeah. And so, hey, like whenever we come on something that I think that that our interests align on for next time, I'm definitely gonna drag you in for the future.
Sure. No problem.
All right, man.